Well, gentlemen, thank you for having me. I feel like I'm on your home turf right now a little bit. Wanted to first kind of start things off by, saying, how are you guys? It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon for a hike. How are things going?
Really well. Yeah, this is a perfect day to be out here. I'm honored and grateful to be collabing with you, and it's a podcast crossover, and Pete's been chomping at the bit to get out here and talk, and we've been thinking about it for the last few days, and just excited to chat and learn about Tails, Ales, and Trails.
Yeah, man. I mean, it made too much sense, right? You guys have a podcast. We've got a podcast. There's some parallels in the outdoor sense of the word. It just felt like a good fit to get together and shout it up.
Yeah, that's the exact conversation that Ross and I had. Was it really does. It's just so organic in the fact that you guys are doing this outdoor stuff. You're doing the local community stuff, just like we are. I will say I'm glad that we're on 2 feet and not 2 wheels today.
I'm real glad that we're not running right now. You guys are indulging me by just going for a hike, because I've seen the Strava. I'm not going to be able to keep up.
I don't know. I don't think we can keep up with you on wheels.
Yeah, I'll take 2 feet over 2 wheels any day. I was joking with you a few minutes ago before we started about, I don't know how you ride a bike uphill. That just seems asinine to me. But like you said, it's the same with 2 feet for you.
Same feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know how these guys are just crushing. I mean, the runs I've been following for you guys, running up Old 32 and all that. I'm like, I bike up that, running up that feels darn near impossible.
Gluttons for punishment.
Yeah.
I think all three of us are probably gluttons for punishment.
There's definitely a shared feeling there for sure. Well, guys, before we kind of get into things, I kind of wanted to, give you the space to, share a little bit more about yourselves. Ross and I know each other from previous careers. Peter, today is the first day I've met you, so I'd love to, get to know a little bit more about you guys and where you're from, how kind of running came into the fold for you guys, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think, Ross and I go back a long time. Going back to, we'll call it 2001. We both went to Chico State at the same time, lived in the dorms at the same time, ran in similar social circles, definitely caused some trouble together at various times while we were doing our thing at Chico State. After that, like everybody at some point in college with friends, you kind of split, and then I was teaching up at Paradise High for a long time, and I knew Ross was doing the local news, on the sport, doing sports on the local news, and I'd see him on TV. I'm like, I know Ross. And then started seeing him showing up at Paradise, covering different events, different athletes, and like, oh, hey, Ross, what's up, man? And, just chit-chatting, small talk, running into each other around town from time to time. And then it was about a year ago, we both were in a Fleet Feet half marathon training program. And I was like, Ross, what's up? And it's just kind of been hanging out, running ever since then.
Right.
Our whole, I'll let Ross talk about Ross, but our whole podcast thing came together in a pretty cool way. Our birthdays are around the same time, and friend of ours was telling me 1 year for my birthday, I ran my age in kilometers. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I ran it by Ross. Hey, Ross, you want to run 42 kilometers for our 42nd birthday? And, Nick, Ross, he's always in for a good time. He's in for a challenge. And his immediate response was, okay, let's do it. Let's figure out a way.
Right.
And so we did this really fun 42K run on our birthdays last spring. And I think we both wanted a space to kind of talk about it, because it turned into something more than I think we thought it would. Like, we were hoping we could bring in some of our friends in the community to come run with us for parts of it. And it ended up being a really great time, great turnout, big party at the end at the Commons. And so we said, hey, we should sit down and talk about this and reflect on it. And we had a great time with that podcast and thought, why don't we do this again? And, 9 months later, we've recorded 16 podcasts with different people from around the Chico running community. And now we have this opportunity to hang with you and, like you were saying, do a little crossover collaboration. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, it sounds like it. It sounds like really a fascinating way in which you guys kind of came back together, kind of over this I guess shared passion for running, for getting out there and putting some miles on the legs.
Yeah, you're so right. I was at a point prior to the start of the Fleet Feet training program where I reconnected with Pete and others, where I was running solo and just kind of on this mission of training, and I needed some more structure. I needed to learn more about running and how to get better. And so to come across Peter and, meet some others in that program gave me a sense of community. And, I've always admired Peter, and know his wife Lisa too from back in the day in college. And so it was really cool to reconnect. And when we got the podcast going, it was I feel like a great partnership. I respect and admire the way Pete goes about like interviewing people, and just to see kind of the evolution there and to be a part of that and to touch a local community in a way that provides content and stories that matter to people is super. I don't know. It's it's just something I'm really grateful for. And so I feel like we've got a good collaboration going, and it's exciting to see it evolve. And there's such incredible stories in the community when it comes to running around here, and just endurance athletes in general. I imagine you feel a little bit of that with biking and mountain biking, and it's been really neat to spotlight the community and spotlight what people are doing.
Well, I think about that a lot because both you and I, have sports journalism backgrounds. And for the longest time, I thought I was going to be a sports writer for the rest of my life. I just thought that's what I love doing, and that's what I was going to continue to do.
Yeah.
But as I left that field, I kind of started to realize the thing that I loved more than the sports was the storytelling.
Totally.
Yeah.
Being able to find stories, people that are inspiring, that have cool stories to share, and getting the opportunity to share their stories. So that's kind of the birth of kind of where we came from. It really started as just, hey, we're going to record ourselves reviewing beer in our backyard, like the humblest of beginnings.
So cool.
Yeah.
And then kind of, long story short, we got the opportunity one day to be like, hey, how would you like to turn this into, talking to breweries and like, hearing their stories. I was like, that sounds awesome. Sounds like right up my alley. And the first interview was Ken and Nerosia, which was kind of, we thought we'd build up to that one day, but never really thought it would be numero uno. But I think about the running community in Chico, and I think there's a lot of parallels to the cycling community in Chico. It's vibrant, it's passionate. There's all kinds of people who are, into these sports, and there's all kinds of community that's surrounded.
Mm-hmm.
I think about the Chico Run Club. I think about groups like the guys I ride with on every other Thursday with Northwood Adventure Sports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a lot of camaraderie there. There's a lot of friendships and a good familial, I guess vibes, if you will.
Yeah.
It just feels like this area, for whatever reason, promotes these really community focused takes on these sports more than anywhere else I've been. Can you guys talk a little bit about the running culture here? I mean, you guys are both pretty entrenched in it at this point.
Yeah.
What's running in Chico like?
Well, I'll let Pete handle that first. He's been at it for a long time.
A long time is very relative when you think about some of the other folks that we've gotten to know in the last few years, right?
Sure.
My running journey is really less than 10 years old. But kind of like Ross, I was doing a lot of running solo. When I finally found Fleet Feet training groups, that was a game changer for, like building some confidence in what I'm doing and learning more about, like you were saying, Nick, how widespread and embedded running and fitness and cycling are in our community. So it's been really neat to see that. And I think one of the things that stands out to me the most, especially having spent the last year talking with Ross so much about this stuff all the time with the various guests, and then when we're just BSing during and after runs, is how inclusive and welcoming the running community is, in Chico specifically. I didn't have a running community outside of Chico. I've only been running in Chico.
Sure.
So this is my circle. So I don't have a lot to compare it to.
Right.
And I would hope and believe that most running communities are pretty inclusive and welcoming. But we've got just some incredible people around here who are running at such elite levels, and you wouldn't know it by talking to them. It's the humility that's involved in everything that they're doing. And, Logan Ziegenmeyer, Bobby Hastings, Katie Crane, Kevin Radke, all these people that are running these amazing races, and setting records and pushing, themselves to the extreme of what they're capable of. Unless you ask them about it, you wouldn't have any idea that that's what they do. And, that's what their passions are. And, I think, like you were saying, finding these stories, and pulling them out of people, because people want to tell their stories. And, I think that's something I've found too, is people want to talk about what they're doing and they want to help you reach whatever goal you're working toward.
100%. Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned the Hastings. I do run, definitely not as much as I bike, and definitely not anywhere near what you guys are doing, but I will run a couple of times a week, and it feels like every other Friday morning I'll see Mr. Hastings putting some miles in. I'm like, hey, Mr. Hastings, we covered cross country back in the day when he was, I don't know if he's still coaching a lot, but just a funny thing there.
Well, he's got a 17-year run streak going. There's a pretty good chance you can run into him any day of the week.
Saw him running this morning.
Year run streak?
It's something like that.
Every day.
Every day.
Man.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
That is unreal.
Right?
We have yet to get him on our podcast.
Yeah.
Help recruit him for us.
Yeah.
Get.
Yeah.
He would.
Yeah. If you see him, tell him. Go tell your story, Bobby.
Yeah. On the path, I'll run him over, stop him, let him know. Ross, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the running for you has been what, a couple of years old? It's
Yeah, but I'm about 3. So 2.5, 3 years I've been at it.
I feel like I remember you kind of starting up Run Ross Run on a similar time frame to when we were, kind of starting to post more on Tails, Ales, and Trails. And I just, kept checking in, and there you were every day, just putting the miles in. Like, man. And then I think I ran into you maybe, 6 or 7 months ago in a Safeway, and we were talking about running. You're like, man, it's got a hold of me. I love it.
Yeah.
There's something about it. What I guess maybe for both of you guys, what is it about running that makes you keep on getting out there day after day?
I think for me, it has a lot to do with understanding that I'm getting a little older.
Sure.
And I'd kind of let myself go physically and wanted to kind of rediscover the competitiveness I had growing up playing sports, and wanting to fight for something, wanting to get out there and improve my physical health and also push myself. And that was kind of the start of the Run Ross Run. It was sort of, inspirational at the beginning in terms of like, what's inspiring me and why am I getting out here and how am I going to keep sticking with it? Because it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not something that, a lot of people want to do. Most people think of running as being, something tough and not enjoyable. Right. But after you do it for a while, it gets to be enjoyable. And then that's when it kind of transitioned into like finding other people that enjoyed this as well.
Right.
And then it became more about community. But yeah, initially why I wanted to get into it was just rediscovering my health and fitness and finding an edge again and fighting for something and, being better and healthy.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about the inclusivity of a sport like running. Like, it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Running to me could be different to what running to you guys is, but it's still, I guess, what am I trying to say here? I can edit this out. No.
I like where you're going.
It's I think about the sport of mountain biking. And I think about some of the people I've been able to talk to on the podcast. You think about Brian Kennedy, a guy who, travels the world mountain biking and rides some of the toughest trails in the world. And he loves it. And me, I'm nowhere near Brian, but I still love the sport. And I guess what I'm trying to get at is running, cycling, all of these things can be enjoyable, can be special and important and meaningful to you, no matter where you're at on kind of the, I guess, the skill spectrum, right?
Totally. Yeah.
And there's something to be said about that, because there isn't really a huge barrier to entry. You just got to get out there and get moving.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think that's really what draws so many people to running, cycling, things like that is, when you look at a sport like basketball, right? Or golf or baseball, where you have to have really specific skills and you have to hone them for years and years and years to get to a really high level. Not to say that you don't have to do that for running or cycling, but like you said, the barrier for entry is so much lower, right? Like if you have a want to do it, you can go do it. And I think that's really welcoming. And like you said, creates that inclusivity that draws so many people in.
Yeah, it's all, we had an interview with the Fleet Feet program coordinator and community outreach coordinator, Shauna. And the title of that episode for us was All Paces and All Spaces. You can run a 14-minute mile, a 7-minute mile, but guess what? The distance is the same.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, getting out here and making it happen, it doesn't really matter the speed wise. I also think another thing that's happening in the world today is something that hasn't happened in history. And that's that we're spending so much time on our screens, and technology is advancing so much faster than it ever has. And I just wonder if in the next, 10, 15 years, we're going to find how studies reveal that getting out is even more important, or getting away from your screens is more important. And where doctors think running a half an hour a day for 5 days a week was amazing 10 years ago, now it's going to be, you need to be running an hour a day, for 5 days a week, or cycling for more time, because we're just like, sensory overloaded with all this information that's at our disposal. So perhaps the importance of cardiovascular health and the importance of mental health is going to increase here in the near future.
Yeah. I think that's really well said.
Yeah, I think, good going back to, what's this community like as far as running and being outdoors. I think, going back to the sensory overload stuff, right? We're hit with these screens. Look where we're at right now, right? Like this is the sensory overload that we need more of, right? I mean, we got a lake, we got the mountains, we got this canyon. I mean, this Chico itself makes running, makes cycling, makes mountain biking so easy because you want to be out in this.
Yeah. I think that's a really special part of what Chico is, and why people, tend to come here for whatever reason and then end up sticking around, because it is a really, really special place if you love the outdoors.
Yeah, our one of our guests, Danny DeMeo, Chico Strider's coach, kind of a pillar of the running community around here. He ran at Chico State, and when he came to visit Chico State as a high schooler to decide, where do I want to go to college? Where do I want to try and run? He came here and they took him out for a run in Bidwell Park, and he said, okay, this is where I want to be. Like, this is my new place. I need to be here to run. And, it's a magnet. This park is a magnet.
I can't tell you how many people I've brought here, not even for a hike, just like, hey, let's go walk the dogs in Lower Bidwell Park. Yeah. Like, this is what you have in your backyard. Like, we don't have anything like this at all. Yeah, I know, man. It's a special deal.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys about maybe some personal highlights in the running space for you. And it doesn't have to be like even achievements, but like, have there been moments in your time running that you're like, man, this is kind of what it's all about for me. This is why I run. This is why I get out here. This is what makes it meaningful.
Yeah. Ross, I think you ought to start, because you've been doing some amazing things, specifically in the last 2 months.
Oh, thanks, man.
As far as massive achievements.
Yeah, that's, boy.
I know, I'm throwing a tough question.
No, it's a great question. It's a great question. There's a few. I'm trying to figure out how to navigate it. I'm kind of like, I think I'm fairly quick, but what I really have bought into lately, or have been pushing myself, is to see kind of how far I can go.
Sure.
Even if after a long extended period of miles, they start to get slower and slower and slower. So just kind of trying to push myself distance wise is alluring. And I did 4 straight 100-mile weeks, including a 150-mile week, which was fun to push myself. It was kind of part of a competition where someone else in our running community, Neil McDevitt, who we call the real deal Neil, was also trying to do a lot of miles, holiday hustle challenge put on by Fleet Feet. So initially it was, competition between us, but it kind of morphed into pushing each other. And that's what I really enjoyed about that. And I also think, running a 50K was a big highlight for me. Getting that done in sub 5 hours, running some of the various events in town, the Fall Trail Classic and the Bidwell Classic, and supporting Fleet Feet and being a part of the Bidwell Run Club and this community and spotlighting it through videos is another kind of big goal I have and something I want to keep evolving. So those are some of the highlights I've got going. But when it comes to like running with this group and people like Pete and others, it's fun to try and keep up with them because they're fast and they're pushing me and they're helping me get better. And so just kind of the camaraderie we have and pushing each other is probably the biggest thing.
I feel like that's such a big part of being able to run in a group as well. Like you do have people that will push you to get better. When you're solo, whether it's running, cycling, whatever, you don't necessarily have as much of a drive to say, all right, I'm gonna make sure I'm keeping this pace or I'm going X amount of miles. You could be like, yeah, I'm a little tired. I'm gonna go home. When you're with people that are, pushing towards the same thing, there's that much more motivation to make it happen, to get better, to continuing to kind of improve your craft.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as far as achievements on my end, I think just the consistency I've been able to develop and stick with for several years. I'm not a run every day guy, but I'm a run, 3 to 6 times a week guy.
Right.
And been doing that now for 7 or 8 years. And, Ross mentioned that, when he got into running, it was to really help his physical health and realizing got to take better care of myself. And that's certainly part of what inspires me and keeps me going is being healthy. And so being able to be consistent with running through everything else that's going on in my life and everybody's life, right? Your family, your job, whatever it might be. So finding time to be healthy and stay out here running is certainly a big part of it. As far as like achievements, I guess, Ross did his 50K. I did the trail classic here and completed all 8 laps of the endurance run, which was a huge accomplishment for me personally, because I'd never gone that kind of distance. I didn't know how my body was going to react. And it reacted okay. Feeling better now 3 months later.
Sure.
But, also finding a community to run with, I think has been a big achievement as well. And like you said, having that accountability, having other people that you can lean on when times get tough with running, Bidwell Run Club, Fleet Feet, Chico Run Club, all these groups that provide social opportunities to run and meet other people who are like-minded, who are running for similar reasons as me or as Ross or as anybody. It's always fun to try and get faster too. That's the cool thing about running. Theoretically, and like science says, like you can keep getting faster till you're, pretty old, right? Old is relative, obviously. But like you can keep getting better, you can keep getting faster, you can keep improving endurance. It's not like some sports like, basketball, right? Or baseball or football, really, where like if you're young, you have a very, very clear advantage over the field, where with running, like you just get better, you learn more, you start to listen to your body more, you understand what you're getting into. And so I think that's cool too. It's just being able to keep running, and a long-term goal is to keep running for a lot longer.
Right. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. How about you? I mean, let's talk about some of your achievements with running or cycling. Yeah, it's about you too.
Oh man. I think the thing for me that I've really enjoyed about, the outdoors and kind of my journey with cycling or mountain biking, I've done some cool things. I've gotten to, ride the Chico Wildflower. That's always a great event that I really kicked my ass the first time, but
it's supposed to
100 miles. So I did the 65 the first year. And that I was coming from a background where I'd ride 15-ish miles on dirt on the weekends, but I had never done any kind of road riding to that degree.
Wow.
It's like, I'll do the 6 to 5 and see what happens. And it was tough, man. The goal this year is to do the century.
Nice.
But I think about like my most meaningful moments on the bike. I've been getting in the habit the last couple of years of like, whenever we're going on a vacation somewhere, I'm bringing the bike. Whether the great trail's there or not, I'm bringing the bike. I find somewhere to ride. And I think some of my favorite moments on the bike have been, Ashland, Oregon, where I'm getting up before everybody else and going and hitting some brand new trails that I've never experienced for 2 hours.
Oh, it's the best.
It just puts a smile on your face that it's hard to explain to people who, may not be into that kind of sport and in that kind of hobby.
Yeah.
But when you get to experience something new, you're out there, you're in the nature of it, because there's some incredibly beautiful trails out there. It's like, man, this is kind of what it's all about. This kind of is the bee's knees. I was riding on I was riding in Tahoe over the summer. And Tahoe trails are way different than Chico trails.
Yes.
And it's just so flowy, and you're riding through the trees. And I just stopped like multiple times on that ride, and I was like, yo, to myself, because I was riding solo, but I was like, man, this is special. Like, I should remember this. I should, think about this when I'm trudging up North Rim Trail. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to keep riding uphill. But you get to experience things like that, and it makes all of it really, really special.
Yeah, we talk about, Ross does a bit of traveling for work. I do a bit of traveling for work. And, both of us like to get out and run. And Ross has done some cool stuff lately. He gets to go to way more fun places than I do, like Philadelphia and Delaware, where, I'm going to Crescent City and Tule Lake, which are beautiful in their own respects, but a different kind of beautiful. And, I said it to Ross on one of our chats that, running gets you in, like if you're running around a city, running around, a new park, new trails, riding, you're getting to feel like the fabric and the heartbeat of what that community is about, right? Sure, driving through it or being in an Uber, going from the hotel to the restaurant is one thing, but making that walk to the restaurant or going out early before whatever your, work obligations are, and running and seeing what's out there, I think is really cool, and helps to get you more involved in what's going on in that community, even if you're only there for a day or two.
Yeah.
I know I told Ross one of my favorite videos of his or some of my favorites are when he goes to Philadelphia, goes to Delaware, and makes those videos showing all these historic places, right? He was just in Philadelphia this week, hanging out with Rocky, no big deal. And, to go do that and experience that, I think helps to give a better understanding and appreciation for what we have, not only in Chico, but also wherever you're visiting.
Yeah. 100%. And, this is a nice tie into the craft breweries of it all, but
yeah,
I kind of love, that's one of the things I love about, getting the travel. You get to go out, bring the bike, ride somewhere in the morning, and then finding brewery afternoon. And look, beer is not for everybody, but there's something special about a good brewery where the community comes together to have a beer, to hang out, to relax. I think about, we were in Michigan in October, and I went to Founders Brewing, and awesome interview with them. And they've got this patio, and you can tell that's where the community gathers. Like, there's people that have known each other sitting down for decades. Like, they've really cultivated relationships at this brewery. You can just feel it. And I'm like, the beer is great, love a good tasty beer, but I think more than anything, the thing that kind of is alluring to me about craft beer and breweries is that community kind of space that they build, because that's in the same way that, building community for running or cycling, like that is a very important and special part of it, where you can, spend time with people that are like-minded and share passions or hobbies or tastes that you do. So
that's really cool. I mean, sharing a run, sharing a hike, sharing a bike ride,
right.
sharing a beer totally lends itself to community. I like your guys' setup for some of your episodes where you're literally sitting down with your guests and enjoying a beer together.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a fun way to do it, a neat, creative way to do it. And you're in, like, have you thought about just how cool it is that the name of your podcast is Tales, Ales, and Trails. You've got the tales down with the stories. You've got the ales down because, hey, we're literally in the city where Sierra Nevada is based out of and created, and you're rocking the Sierra Nevada glasses right now, which is amazing.
And the Sierra Nevada shirt. Yeah. He's a certified beer geek.
Look,
Ken,
just not to toot my own horn a little bit here, but I was at the Bigfoot Bash last night. Slamming some Bigfoots, and I'm here hiking. So.
Yeah, which is impressive. I told you that before. I don't know how you got out of bed to do this.
Yeah. And we're on the trails element of the name of your podcast right now, North Rim. So, I mean, the name of your podcast is really cool, man.
Yeah.
Because it's perfect.
It's a mouthful, but it really does fit, what we're all about. And kind of the things I'm passionate about, I love telling stories. I love spending time in the outdoors, whether that's cycling, hiking, taking the dogs for a walk in the park. Like, if it's outside, I want to be there. And obviously, who doesn't love a nice craft beer? that really adds to things. But it's just been a lot of fun. And the thing that I think has surprised me the most is just how receptive people are to sharing their stories. Like, I've reached out to people I'd never thought we would get on the podcast. Ken,
that's amazing.
Being a big one. But, we talked earlier about Brian Kennedy, BKXC. He's got 500,000 followers on YouTube. He's a big mountain biker.
And is it Chico local?
Chico went to Chico State.
Okay.
He lives in the Bay Area now. But he was actually a Chico State journalism graduate.
Let's go.
So I just shot him an email. I was like, hey, man, I also wrote it to Orion. Like, let's make something happen. And he got back to me. He's like, yeah, come on out. Let's talk. Let's ride. Let's do it.
It's great.
Like, just being able to, take that shot with people. And more often than not, everyone's been super receptive to saying, yeah, we'd love to come on. We'd love to share our story. We'd love to talk to you. And I think that's been, the most rewarding part of the podcast, being able to meet these people, share these stories, and kind of build these connections. Like, that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about,
That was one of the things that Ross and I were interested too, is like, when you do get these people on, like you said, Ken, he's local. That's, again, kind of like a big goal for years, it sounds like, but it happened way quick, which isn't surprising because it's local, telling these stories. But, like founders, and these other places you're getting, are you just like reaching out and saying, hey, this is what I do? Do you have any interest in chatting? Is it really that simple?
Well, it's kind of that, man. It's kind of what it is. Once we got Ken, I was like, okay, that's great, because that gives you a little bit of, I don't know, credibility.
Yeah,
for your podcast, right?
Totally.
Let's say you've got the father of craft
exactly
on your podcast.
Yeah.
Then I went and got someone like BKXC, who is a prominent outdoor creator.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got him. So I can go to these people now and say, hey, these, impactful, influential people have been on this podcast. We would love to tell your story in the same way. Would you be interested?
Yeah.
So I would say I haven't really gotten a no yet, which is kind of wild. I'm sure that'll happen. But, reaching out to places like founders, like Bell's Brewing in Michigan, they're huge.
Yeah.
And they were just like, yeah, let's do it. We've got some podcasts that'll probably already have been out by the time this episode drops. But there's several other mountain bike creators that were like, yeah, just come out to my house. We'll talk. We'll hang out and we'll go from there. I was like, this is insane. Like, I've followed you guys for years. You've been inspiring in your own right because of, the content you put out. And now we're just sitting on a couch talking to each other. It's kind of surreal. If you step back and think about it for a second.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we have moments like that too, looking back on, we've only been kind of playing this game for 8 or 9 months. And it's like, geez, we've accomplished quite a bit and had some really insightful, fun conversations. And I think, hearing that it's really that easy to just send people a message or an email saying, hey, do you want to chat? Kind of reinforces too that people want to tell their stories. Like they want a platform or an opportunity to say, here's what I do.
Right. And, I think it's very easy for all of us, especially when we're, small town podcast people, to kind of get bogged down in the numbers sometimes and be like, oh, well, this reel didn't do as great as that reel. But at the end of the day, like you're getting to hear really inspiring stories. You're getting to share them. I don't know about you guys, but it's not really costing me much to do these things.
Yeah.
So it just feels like a really positive thing.
Yeah.
However big, however small it ends up being, at the end of the day, it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people in this community and the communities outside of Chico that have responded to putting positive things out there.
Yeah. Well, and I think, not to get too in the weeds with this stuff, but there is just so much, we're bombarded with so much stimulus all the time, and not all of it's really positive. So yeah, I think when we can put out these cool stories about local people or people who are doing good, it's just really empowering and validating for all of us.
100%. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, if it's like one person or 100 people or 10,000 people, at least it was that one person.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know. One of my favorite stories related to our pod is one day Ross comes there. He texts me after being at farmer's market, and he's like, hey, this lady came up to me and was like, hey, are you Ross from Pod on the Run? I recognize your voice. And turns out, it's a person who's just an incredibly kind woman, and her husband. They're both great. Thomas, Ursula, we're talking about you. They're just so great. And, I'm sure you're probably getting the same kind of reception from people who are listening when you do run into listeners like, hey, thanks. Like, what you're doing is cool. We like listening.
That's been the craziest thing to me, because, I very much operate in this space where, we're putting this stuff out there every single day, but I'm not really, like, in my mind, thinking that people are watching, or even locally or people are watching. So, like, we were at Ramble West for their pint night a couple of weeks ago, shooting some content and stuff, and talking to Ryan and Jim, and then some guy like pulled me aside. He goes, and they usually always get like 2/3 the name right. They're like, "You're the Ales and Trails guy?" Yeah, I'm the Ales and Trails guy. What's up, man?
Yeah,
like just those kind of interactions have been special and surprising and kind of crazy. I when we first set out to do this, I didn't really think that anything would come of it. And to see that it has had some kind of influence in our community has been pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, same.
Yeah,
like big time.
Yeah,
it's the same way we feel.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, people are listening to this? Like, people enjoy this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys just don't think we're just total clowns that are kind of ridiculous, and this is how we're spending our free time? Yeah.
I think it's also the stories, too. Like, having the ability to spotlight, I don't know, whether it's Ramble West or whatever's going on at Sierra Nevada, and then for us, spotlighting a runner who just threw down an amazing time during a marathon. Like, I think that's what people really respond to and really want to hear.
100%.
Like sometimes I've got a little bit of like apprehension to share, with what I'm doing, because I feel like, what this guest has done is just so much more impressive, and people are going to want to hear about it. And the other thing about that is stuff happens consistently where, you may think, hey, I've got a couple week break here. There's not going to be anything going on in the running community to spotlight. And then someone goes somewhere and throws down an amazing time in a marathon. It's like, oh my gosh, like we should get this person on tomorrow. We should.
Right.
Yeah.
There's always these stories that continue popping up.
Yeah.
And it's, a reflection of this amazing community of endurance athletes that are here in Chico. And maybe you see some parallels with what's going on in the brewery world.
Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate to be where we are, because you have a place like Sierra Nevada.
Shoe break.
Oh, wait,
Yeah, flat tire there. Sorry.
You're good. And you have a place like Sierra Nevada that opened the door for more craft beer to come into the Chico area, to the surrounding areas. Like, people have literally grown up drinking Sierra Nevada beer. And because of that, I think more than any other town I've been in, like it's able to foster space to have these other smaller breweries. And I where I come from, Tracy, California, it's maybe 50,000 people bigger, Chico, and they've got one singular brewery. So I think it says something about Chico where you can have 5, 6, 7 of these craft establishments that all have space to kind of thrive in their own right.
Yeah.
Because people do have that appreciation for craft beer here. And because of that, there's really no shortage of things to talk about or events to go to. And it makes it a lot of fun with what we're trying to do.
That's awesome. I got a question for you.
Please.
What is your favorite beer?
Oh, Ross, this is always a tough one, man. Because I've gone back and forth. I think if you asked me a year ago, I would say that the Garage Dweller Hazy IPA from Farmers Brewing.
Okay.
Wow.
Probably one of the best beers I've ever had in my life.
Awesome.
If you ask me today, I've been drinking nothing but Celebration IPA, Sierra Nevada, for the last couple months. And I'm like, man, this is probably pound for pound one of the best beers that's ever been made. So,
IPA guy then.
IPA, I think I lean IPA. I think I'm not opposed to a good stout from time to time.
In the right season.
In the right season.
Yeah. So thick.
A lager, I'll be down for in the summer. I'm not opposed to, you put a beer in front of me, I'm probably going to drink that beer. And more often than not, I'm going to have a few good things to say about the beer. It might not be my favorite.
Yeah.
But I'll be able to tell you, like, yeah.
If it's cold, you can say at least one good thing, right?
Exactly. 100%. Oh, man.
Except for maybe if it's been sitting in your fridge for a few years.
Yeah.
You did a real fun segment recently that I got a total kick out of, where you were, explain what you were doing. You were kind of,
It was the great beer fridge purge or hoing pod, right? Because, if anyone like me has a beer fridge in their garage and you start to, like a squirrel just stashing beers away at that point, you're going to find out that, hey, there's beers in here from like 4 or 5 years ago. So I had this idea that we would just start like kind of systematically getting rid of these beers, cracking them open, seeing what they taste like after X amount of time. For the most part, they've been okay, or they were okay when we were doing that. Definitely some beers that don't taste like they should anymore. That, let's just say lost their luster. But you can't really hold it against the brewery because these beers are intended to be drank.
Yeah, you can't sit on them forever.
And not stashed for years. It's funny, we at the Bigfoot Bash yesterday, we learned a lot about Bigfoot and why that beer or that style of beer is able to be stored and aged for years.
Interesting.
As opposed to, other beers, because the composition of Bigfoot lends itself to the aging process and allows, I'm going to tell you guys, hiking and podcasting.
Yeah.
Well, more difficult than I thought.
Well, you are doing the hard work here. You are carrying the camera there.
But the composition of Bigfoot really lends itself to aging. So yesterday, as part of the Bigfoot Bash, they gave us a Bigfoot from 10. Gave us a Bigfoot from 10. What is happening?
10 years ago?
Bigfoot from 2010.
Okay.
Whoa.
And then a Bigfoot from 2014. We're going to Bigfoot from 2019. And then finally a Bigfoot from 2026. And the flavors across the board, like the beer changed so much in those years and just brought out new flavors and new tastes.
Is that because it sat for longer or because the recipe is slightly different every year?
No, it's the same recipe every year. It's just the aging process brings out these new flavors.
Yeah.
And it really changes the beer.
Uh-huh.
Some would say for the better, some would say for the worse, but it's a different experience with each beer. And it was pretty cool to learn about, pretty cool to taste in time and kind of like judge like 16 years worth of a difference.
Yeah. So having tasted all those, which was your preference?
Oh gosh, I thought tasting the 2010 was such a wild like departure from the 2026 that I liked that the most because it just felt like almost a different beer entirely.
Yeah, I can imagine. 16 years.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
That's, I think that's one of the things Sierra Nevada has always, at least from an outsider's perspective, who's not nearly as, embedded in the beer culture as maybe you are and some other folks around town. They always seem to be not afraid of trying things, at least.
Yeah.
Years ago, I had a friend who worked there. He was a chemist doing some pretty crazy things. And he gave me and a handful of guys a behind the scenes tour, like not an official tour. And he took us into some places and like put the pigtail on and like was like opening up these beers that like these are still in the process, so it's going to taste a lot different than the final product. And took us, and well, didn't take us to, but like showed us like this is where some really progressive things with beer are being done, and like we're experimenting with some stuff. And I was like, what is it? And he's like, I can't tell you that, but just know that we're doing stuff. And I think that's really cool and kind of a hallmark of what Sierra Nevada is all about.
100%. I couldn't say anything better myself.
All right, Nick, are you ready for our rapid fire end of pod questions that we throw at our guests?
I think I am.
Okay. So you answer these however makes you happy.
Sure.
I've kind of adapted them to fit Tails, Ales, and Trails a little bit better than, just hitting a runner with these. So the first one, your favorite trail to either hike, run, or cycle. It doesn't have to be in Chico. It could be anywhere.
Just for the purposes of keeping it local, I'm gonna stick with trails in the park. I'm gonna say that I really love riding down NEB.
Let's go.
Because to me, riding down NEB signifies that I've already done all the hard stuff. Already ridden up Old 32. I've went down Trash Line. I've found my way to NEB. And once you hit NEB, it's like, all right, I can relax. I can have fun. Not that I'm not having fun the rest of the time, but there's just a little bit more of a, a settling feeling once you hit NEB.
Sure.
All right.
You can see the barn.
Down 100%.
So wait, that's the route? You drive up 32, down Trash Line, and hit NEB and come back?
Not always. Sometimes I will hit Trash Line, end up on blanking on Guardians or Bloody. I think you'll end up at Guardians, and then I'll take Guardians to 10 Mile House Road. And I'll ride down 10 Mile House Road, and then hop on NEB that way.
Yep.
If I'm feeling spicy, if I feel like I want to get some more miles in.
How much distance is that?
From my house, it ends up being, I want to say like 21 or 22 miles round trip.
With some good elevation climb. That's
elevation.
That's a good ride.
It's a kick in the pants. We're maybe gonna ride that tomorrow morning. See if I can get my brake lever fixed that I snapped this morning. But we'll see.
Brakes. So what do you need brakes for?
I was not as rapid as I'm sure you were hoping.
No, that's great. No, that's perfect.
I'm the one who asked the follow-up question, so my bad.
So my next question is, when you're out on a hike or you're out for a ride by yourself, maybe it's just a solo mission, are you putting on headphones, listening to something, or are you en natural raw dogging the experience?
So this is an excellent question, and I think it's one that leads to a little bit of controversial statements around the mountain bike community, because there are some people who will put headphones in.
Yes.
And I have used headphones from time to time. Usually, if I'm in between, I guess I'm on a lunch ride at work, from work or from home, and I want to go get a few miles in, I'll put the earbuds in just in case I get an email or something like that. But by and large, when I'm riding, no earbuds, all natural, enjoying being out there, being with my thoughts a little bit, and just kind of finding some peace.
Sure.
It's the best.
Yep, definitely. Okay, so next one, I'm going to modify slightly. If you come across someone who's like kind of new to drinking beer, but they have an interest in it, where would you recommend, or what would you recommend they do to kind of figure out what they like in a beer, what their preferences are?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think you got to start with the flight,
Okay.
which is, for those who don't know, it's 4 4-ounce pours of beer. And what you can do in that is pick a wide range of beers, right? If you're at like Sierra Nevada, you can hook them up with something a little fruity. You can give them an IPA. You can get them a little something darker. You can really run the gamut of a complete,
Great idea.
spectrum of beers. And then from there, they can say, oh, I kind of like this one. Wasn't really a fan of that one. I'd love to have something that tasted a little more like this. And then you can start to kind of zero in on what their drink of choice might be.
Yeah. And I think that's a really cool thing to do at any brewery, right? Especially a brewery that maybe you're not familiar with what they have, or you are familiar, but it's an opportunity to try a wide range of beers. And a lot of times at those breweries, after you've had some, you can ask, the waiter, or if you're sitting at the bar, ask the bartender, hey, what's something similar to this? Can you recommend something that's totally opposite end of the spectrum from this, because I really didn't like it? And that's where going to somewhere like a brewery or some kind of tasting room, you get that expertise and some help with the developing what you like, or developing the understanding.
100%. And places like Sierra Nevada will have pre-built flights that you can try if you just don't want to have to pick. But for the most part, if you ask somebody, they're going to be able to help craft a flight for you that fits what you're looking for, which is kind of a really cool thing for someone who may not, be into craft beer or know that they're into craft beer yet.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, got a couple more for you. Next one. Let's say someone comes up to you, they've been listening to your pod, and they're like, man, I've got some things that I want to talk about. I have this hobby I'm super passionate about. How can I start a podcast?
Oh gosh. I mean, that I'm no expert in that, but what I would say is pull out your phone, go to your voice recorder app, hit record, and start going for it. I think the biggest hurdle of podcasting is actually just doing the thing. Like, there's all kinds of considerations you can make in terms of, do I have the right equipment? How is it going to sound? Yada, yada. But I think at the end of the day, just putting yourself out there is the biggest hurdle. And that's what you've got to focus on. So, when Kyle and I started, we were doing it over Zoom with terrible audio and terrible video, but we just talked about what we wanted to talk about. And it kind of grew from there. So I think if you're wanting to start a podcast, you just got to pull out a phone, you hit record, and you see what happens.
No, you're so right too. I mean, we're in a day of age now where like the production value seems to have diminished a little bit because we're inundated with so much content every day, and we're, what's accessible on social media. It's like, I no longer think I have to shoot videos super professionally. I'm almost like, I just want to make something organic and natural, and
feels more authentic.
Totally.
Yeah.
And just laying something down. It's a great call. If you're passionate about it, just start talking, and the story is what matters.
And I think the authenticity that comes through and what both of our groups are doing is really what's alluring to people. Is like, there's no pretense involved here. These are just topics and things that we're interested in and we want to talk about.
100%.
All right, I got one more for you. Okay, so you just finished a big ride. Maybe it's Wildflower. Maybe you're up in Ashland again and you're out and you have a great morning ride and you've crushed, we'll call it, between 40 and 80 miles.
Sure.
And it's time to eat.
Oh gosh.
What are you going for?
What time of day is it? That's a very...
Ooh.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that to you. You can hit this on multiple levels if you want. If you need all three meals to say.
I'm gonna get really, really specific with you guys.
Please, that's the best.
Because there's basically two schools of thought. If we're talking, this is a morning ride and we're going to brunch after, and if we're local, and I'm going to Cafe Coda.
Oh. Yes. Please go where I think you're going.
Having and this is, I've got a thing, and my friends know this, that I don't order a Cafe Coda. I just tell them to get me whatever they're feeling. And every single time it comes out fantastic because you cannot pick a bad meal there. But the meal that I gravitate towards the most is getting their breakfast burrito,
Okay.
getting it with pulled pork,
Yes.
getting hash browns in the breakfast burritos, and getting it wet, so smothered in something.
Oh,
And that is probably as good of a, let's get some calories back in the body.
Yeah.
Anything.
yes.
Now if we're let's say if we're up north,
Okay.
and it's in the afternoon,
Okay.
and we've just had a huge hike, maybe we went and saw some waterfalls, Bernie Falls, things like that.
Okay.
We're coming back down the 5.
Okay. Are you near Dunsmuir by chance?
Might be.
Okay.
I might
Can you get a Frisbee at this place?
Yes, I believe you can.
Okay.
So I would stop at Yaks on the 5
Yes, you would.
and get their burger. It doesn't matter what burger,
Yep.
because they're all fantastic.
Yep.
And they're massive.
Yes.
They're like they have no right to be as
No.
big as they are.
They're so unnecessary.
No, 100%. But it is also one of the juiciest, tastiest burgers I've had in my life. It's so good. We were coming down a couple months ago from a little weekend road trip in Oregon, and stopped at Yaks, and my wife and I split a single burger. We're like, oh, this is plenty of food for the both of us. Like, it is almost too much food for the both.
Yeah.
So Cafe Coda, Yaks on the 5,
Okay. So going back to Yaks, if we're there
please.
and you've already had the burger,
Oh god.
I mean, you're not going to not while you're there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe get one to go, maybe the cinnamon roll to go.
You gotta get some of those sticky buns.
Yeah, right. You
Kind of
can't.
make that happen.
Yeah, you're not going to not. So Nick, as someone who's, big into sports in the North State for years, you probably know that baseball field right there. Do you know who played there at one point?
Oh gosh, this is some trivia that's gonna escape me. I want to say, because I believe.
Think Sandlot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Barnstorming.
I was gonna say, because there's been some barnstorming that happened up in Marysville at the ballpark over there, and I know greats like the Babe,
There we go.
Lou Gehrig,
There it is.
Soul guys went and played at that park, so I would have to assume they went up to Dunsmuir as well.
Babe Ruth. Good. You know it. Yeah. I knew we were spirit animals or something like that. As soon as you said coming down 5, and you knew what I meant when I said you can get a Frisbee there. Yeah. Incredible stuff.
What is the Frisbee?
Oh, they give out Frisbees there.
Oh,
The
okay.
Yaks.
Yeah, okay. Like legit a Frisbee. I thought it was like a meal.
No. I get the Frisbee. I think they serve the kids meals on them. I think that's how we ended up with this. A couple of
Also
them.
a good way to try and burn off the burger.
Oh, there you go.
A little ultimate.
Yeah.
Encouraging.
Oh, no. Well, guys, thank you so much for this. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, man.
We couldn't have asked for a better day to do it.
Oh,
Yep.
Just getting out, enjoying some sun, having a great conversation. I really enjoyed getting to, not only get to know you guys better, but getting to know kind of your passion for this running community, and kind of all the things you guys have been able to do within that. So thank you guys. This has been great.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure from my end. I think Ross will probably say the same thing. He told me, I don't know, must have been back before Christmas that you guys have been communicating a little bit and talking about, a collaboration crossover pod. And I'm really glad that it happened. And I don't know, maybe we should make this something that happens again. And maybe next time sit down and do it over some beers.
Yeah, I would love that. I think that would be a perfect sequel to this.
Yeah. Maybe a flight of local beer.
We're talking an hour.
A flight of local beers.
Get Kyle in on it.
Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely.
yeah, so cool. I'm just grateful and honored that you reached out, and what a great idea. I can't recall very many podcasts that have crossovers like this. So I think we're kind of doing something that's innovative,
I
and
told you, man, you're gonna break the Chico A nest.
That's right.
This is gonna be a big deal.
Yeah.
yeah, thanks, Nick. It's been a pleasure, man. Super grateful.
Thank you guys.